Has this ever happened to you? What about this? As gamers, these sorts of things happen all the time, which is why we made LCS Challengers League emotes. Impress your friends. Stop sucking. Make better choices.
Since subscribing to LCS Challengers, my confidence has never been higher.
And with 3 easy clicks, yours can too! Plus, you'll be directly supporting the players in the league.
So what are you waiting for? Come join us!
I take no responsibility for any of those things that the text scroll was just saying I don't take responsibility for.
Good, I was actually
that's all.
reading
You're denying allegations that don't exist. I think that's kind of sus there, Steve.
I'm just saying, like, I was saying it yesterday, but I've gotten worse at League since subbing, so I don't know, Kangas, if you could
Sounds like a skill issue. Actually.
Alright. Wow, alright. Right at the end of the day, too, so.
That's why you don't have the energy to respond to it.
It's just like the, you know what, fine. And also, actually, facts, so I can't even be mad, but
shout out to Sierra and Joshi, who've been on all 3 days in a row. That's what, for both of you, that's 16 games apiece. That's a long weekend. Ooh.
Hey, the players been doing it, like, they've been going through those 3-day weeks too, and
yeah, they do 6 games a week.
yeah, but hey, they're putting in the work, and in our last series, I mean, Wildcard, they put in the work. They managed to get that first win going up against this guys tier.
Quick, everybody throw in your salutes for Zamudo. Pretty sure we have a salute emote. Make sure you do that one. He was the big man on campus, looking fantastic as he pulled the post-game breakdown, doing the most damage in the game on the Malphite. 31% of his team's DPS throughout the whole thing.
Look at that.
You know,
That's a rock.
It's a pretty low damage game overall, from both sides of the map, but still, Zamudo being the top damage in that one, partly because he's just wailing away on Renekton for a big part of the game, still very impressive.
The best part is, if we can get a look later at our MVP graph, is his gold differential at 15. Is the fact that it wasn't all lane that he was really winning. He was actually quite behind early on, but it was when it came to the team fights. Josh, you said this very early on when we were looking at the compositions. Whoever pulls the trigger first will probably win the game. And Zamudo was willing to do that. He was constantly the one going in, constantly finding these big engages and setting his team up for success. Yeah, here we go. Look at these. That's like almost 1,000 gold deficit.
Yeah. To Fake God's credit, he actually navigated the matchup very well, right? It is a matchup that can be very difficult if Malphite can get a back off, especially around the 800 to 1,000 gold mark in order to get enough armor to prevent Renekton from doing anything. But Fake God did such a good job keeping Zamudo in lane, never being able to back away for those different items. He was able to extend the period where Renekton is winning the matchup for a lot longer than a lot of Renektons can manage.
We'll have to see going on to game 2 how that one's gonna go down, because if we know anything about Disguise, it's that they love those 1-1 weeks. So it'll definitely be interesting going on there.
Before we move on, I do want production to one-box me because I did something real quick here. It's very simple. I gave the proper MVP nod for Zamudo because, of course, he does deserve to have his face. Boom, there we go. There we go. My quick little MVP for Zamudo. We got to get an actual photo of this guy.
Oh, that's why you asked for the production preview?
That might be why I had asked.
Screen grab it and take a quarter of the pixels?
How are you going to do that to our first match MVP, Kangas?
What do you do with that? This was a gift. This was for Zamudo.
I hope you like it, Zamudo. This is the only gift you're getting from Steve this entire split.
We'll probably do more things for him. Popping off. We'll make content. Call me Zamudo. Let's make something happen. You want a music video? Maybe Zamudo gets in the music video. Fake.
Kangas is just begging for anyone to do a music video with him. Like, please,
I really
guys.
want to make a music video. And if players aren't willing, I'm just going to put your PNGs and make my own. So that's the warning for you.
Hey, you're begging for a music video. I think production is begging for me to actually get started with our Rally Cry halftime show on here. Instead of hearing Gagas just beg. And for this, we are going to be reading some tarot cards. So I actually picked up a new deck of these over the summer. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds for our teams and our players. So I'll have one of you ask the question. I'll pull some cards, and the other person's going to answer it based off of those cards, okay?
Oh. Okay, so we have to ask the questions, and the other person then answers based on the tarot reading.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
interesting.
Steve,
Yes.
what champion is Young playing next game?
Champion is Young playing next game. Well,
Right.
I'm
I'm
happy
only
you
gonna
asked,
flash.
Joshi, because
I'm only
Sierra's
gonna
got
flash
some
one
cards.
card for this one, but
Only one.
Mm.
Well, I think that's pretty obvious. I guess we're going set mid. Sierra, did you draw these?
no, I picked them up at the thrift store.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good
Surely,
and very specific thrift
surely
store,
you
turns
picked
out.
up our Challengers League emotes that just came out, like a couple of weeks ago, this last summer at the store.
The emotes are so
You know?
good, they went worldwide, they went viral. What can I say? I got really lucky here, but
That was an easy
That was an
one.
easy
That was
question.
awesome.
Nice.
yeah.
That was good. That was good.
All right.
I hadn't seen these new tarot cards, so I guess it is very specific in the advice they give.
All
All
right.
right.
Joshi, how is the next laning phase going to go for Fake God?
Okay.
All right, I'll give you 2 for this one.
Mic drop and smack.
Hey, that's me. I'm Smack.
Hey!
That's you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's going to be pretty good coming out. He's just going to be smacking around Zvudo up there in the top lane. He did a pretty good job in the first one, but the thing that might be surprising is he's actually going to do it in such a way where he is no longer part of comms for the rest of it. He's actually going to disconnect from their voice comms the entire time and just beat up Zvudo in silence the entire time. Honestly, at that point, do you even need anything else? Because you don't even need to hear the top die.
I guess you can
I
do
didn't
it.
listen to
believe
any
in
of
you.
that, by the way. I was
I
just
can tell.
making this.
Proud of you. Thanks
I
to
hope it
I'm
sounded
proud of you.
good.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Kangas. Good job. Good job.
Wait. If you have
just-
all the emotes, I can do this all day. I'm pretty sure I have all of them loaded into here. So.
Well, you
go.
have to be answering next for Joshi's next
All right.
question.
All right,
so.
right, true.
Okay. How is Disguise going to guarantee that we get to a 1-1?
Ooh, okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
all right.
Oh, I like the little emote for the tarot card reading, too.
Yeah.
It's the ace. Oh, hey, look, it's right there.
Oh,
Okay.
coincidence.
How are we going to get it? Oh, I got this.
Okay.
So, the stare, the Yumi stare. Yeah, let's start with that. Can you pull that up? Can you drop the ace for right now? So this is Disguise Toast watching right now. Because usually he's co-streaming the matches. This is him just saying, "What's my team doing?
Yeah.
What's my roster doing? Oh, what's going on there? Huh?
This
Huh?
is the kind of
Huh?
nervousness you were supposed to exhibit before, right? Just like
Right?
you're just
I'll pull up
having
the other one.
Disguise.
I'll pull up the other one.
All right, pull up the other one. My
Okay.
bad, my bad.
And now this is the checkbook coming out. And this guy's saying, "All right, team, come on, we gotta pull this one together. Here, what if I just pull this out as the incentive again? This is the bonus for finishing well
bonus.
this season.
All right.
And then boom, all the players are gonna be like, that sounds pretty good, but maybe we'll actually pick things up here.
Well, if only you paid me more money, I would be playing better.
Wow.
It makes
That's why
sense to
NA
me.
does so well at Worlds all the time.
Yeah, I also want to say hello to everybody in the Toast stream who says I sound like Michael Reeves. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but it is something. I have been told.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah, I have been
yes.
told that if Alk Battery and I had a cloned child, it would probably be Michael Reeves. So
No
just take
comments
that
about
as how you
looking
will.
like a certain Marvel character or anything? No?
Which one of you is the engineer that's
Jesse.
like building stuff? I feel like that's
Neither
either.
of us. But it is what it is.
All right,
I will
next-
still have some fish to do my stock market.
All right, so this might be our last question. So make
All right,
it a good
Stevie.
one. Good question.
Stevie Wonder,
All right, I'm ready.
it's your question.
Oh, it's my question, right? I forgot
Get a
that's
good
how this
one.
game works. Well, darn it, I was not spending any of that time thinking about a question. All right,
give you $1
Josh,
million.
I give you $1 million in a
Yeah?
briefcase, in cash, right now, untaxed.
That's a lot of money.
But this is gonna happen. The wild card.
Okay.
Do you take the money? Oh no!
Oh no! No!
What does it mean?
Oh no! they're just gonna be missing? We already got the Plinks to save
Desert's
Lynx.
is
How are
gonna
we
kill
supposed to
them.
get everybody else coming through? Oh no, Eric, don't stop.
You
no,
take $1 million,
I don't
but
know what the
everyone
$1 million
knows.
for
Everyone
this.
knows that you did it.
No, absolutely not. Wildcard. I don't want you to just go missing like that. Make sure that your internet is okay. Double check. Make sure your router is good between the games. I don't want Wildcard to just go missing and everybody to know that it's me. But you know, if I could.
I mean,
do
wouldn't
it
it
secretly.
technically be Deserex here? Wouldn't it technically? No? All right.
But if people knew that I paid him off, like
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
That
just
is true. We do have you live
just the
on
muscle.
air for that one, but hey, in this series, Wildcard gonna be sticking around. We'll have to see if they can stick it to Disguise and take it 2-0, or if Disguise are gonna keep it up with that 1-1. Our draft is ready. I will see you later.
Thank you very much, Sierra. And I gotta say, I'm taking that money. Screw it.
taking that money.
Give me the $1
Just
million.
let them go missing.
I'm taking the $1 million, and I'm going to use some of that $1 million to find them, sign them to my own roster, and boom, now CLG's back in developmental League of Legends, baby. Let's go.
Did you see how much money Toast is spending on the disguised rosters between League and Valorant?
He did tweet that out. I did.
Yeah,
I
it was $1 million.
I don't remember what it was, but I saw the tweet.
Between the two teams, it was $1 million. So you know
Oh,
you could
well, look
just
at that.
have your own
Sweet.
disguise.
Exact amount that I need. Let's go.
Where very convenient. But now we do have this one going in, and there's going to be no staring coming out from Disguise off of this one as Wildcard. Once again on the red side of the map. Now, I am expecting that Fake God will probably not be permitted to just blind the Renekton again, unless they're going to be going for a Malphite ban. If they go for a Malphite ban, it also tells us a lot about what it is that Fake God is planning to do with that lane. But I got bad news. There's a bunch of other bad managers for Renekton up in the top side. Luckily, they've already taken out one of them. The Gragas taken off the table. It would have been 7 games of Gragas for Zamudo over the first 2 weeks if they did have that come through, and it would also just smack around the Renekton.
And I want it to be known that Zamudo has played Gragas every time it's not banned. So thank you to the teams that are banning the Gragas. It is fun to see Zamudo
And the
on
teams that are
different
banning the
champions.
Yumi.
Huh?
And the teams that are banning Yumi.
True. Shoutouts to everybody who's banning
You know-
the annoying things.
The other thing that I have to be very grateful about today, here, Steve, is that we haven't had a single static shift build.
We haven't. I remembered that earlier in the day, and I didn't bring it up, and I'm happy that you brought it up again. I guess we just had a handshake agreement that we're not going to go for that. We are going again for the Xayah now, this time for Disguised.
Yeah, it is going over to Meech, and that does leave opportunities for Wildcard to play some different things. This does look like it could be a Zeri angle for Lens. We have seen them play it a couple of times so far, and if you can also take away the Recon, the ability for Meech and Zeyzal to be super aggressive early on in the lane is also significantly reduced, making Zeri a lot safer.
It will leave open a couple other picks for Zeyzal to go for, though. If you want to go for something like a Leona or a Nautilus, then it is opening those tools up where the Zeri no longer has like an enchanter to keep them alive. The Rakan gets countered by those. And they're going to save their 80 carry pick for a little bit longer, locking the Kindred instead for Keel.
Yeah, Keel, again, has played this Kindred a couple of times. I still think it is very telling how Keel will oftentimes play this character, really going from lane to lane to be very aggressive in all the ganks, and for going a lot of farm, counting on finding those kills to make up for some of the missing CS that they have been going for. And, Steve, it looks like we're going to be getting Tomio here on the bye.
I don't want to look again. I can't do this a third time, please. We've seen too many Kindreds just absolutely destroying Vise. Specifically Rose Thorn's Kindred, though. So let's see if Keel can actually step up and do the similar thing, or if Tomio will finally figure out how to actually play this matchup. Because I was talking with Rose Thorn before his interview went live when we chatted with him after their win, and he was saying he just thinks Vi's kind of trash right now. But teams and players are still willing to pick this champion. Obviously, it's a clear go button. It's a good engage tool. This just feels like when you see the Kindred, it's so rough to lock this in. You get beat out of your jungle. If you engage onto them, they just press R and stop your entire engage. Really tough to play it.
Yeah, and I mean, just having all these different tools come through, I think, will be very beneficial for Wildcard, because now that they do have the Lamb's Respite and Lens on the Zeri, you suddenly have the tools to be very aggressive after the Lamb's Respite goes down. We saw this exact thing coming out for Team Fish Taco earlier in the day, and while it was mostly the fact that Rose Thorn and Onat were just bodying all the fools on the map, it is still an opportunity for Wildcard to try and recreate that success. Now, for Wildcard, the thing I really want to see them do is pick up another engage tool. Khan really specializes as a secondary engage or a flanking engage, and not something that can just go directly up the pipe.
So either something to cause chaos to allow him to get those flanks, or something to start things off so he can follow up. I also don't hate if they ban away things like that Leona as well. They've already taken the Nautilus off the table, one of the counters to the Rakan, and also can get on top of the Zeri. Wouldn't be too big of a surprise if they go for another engagement. No, instead, they go for the Jax ban against Fake God.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that does try and push Fake God right back on towards that Renekton, which has been his go-to blind pick for a lot of this split so far. But Steve, took me a while to find it. What do you think is the win rate for Kindred versus Vi?
Ooh, okay, what's the elo?
NACL Summer 2023.
Oh, perfect. So I don't even have to think about solo queue numbers then.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to wager. I'm going crazy. 70%.
That's really close, actually. It is 71% over 7 games. It is 5-2. You've been pretty good at this so far,
I've been
as we
very
do
close
see
with these
Wildcard
percentage games, yeah.
come through. Now, I do really like this combination, right? It is a similar thing to the Gragas and Soligo, and not only block a lot of flankers coming in with that first divide, but can also push them out of the ledge just by, this is not for you. Get out of here and be able to win fights from there. So Wildcard have already picked up a lot of damage, but they're very light on the crowd control half of the equation in order to keep people at bay. They have the range, but they need a bit more damage. Now that Fake God is going towards the Renekton again with the Malphite and the Gragas both away, Zamudo will have to try and find a new answer to this. And what else has he played? He played the Akshan.
Played Ornn. Played Akshan. Played Karthus. Those are the only things outside of Gragas that he has played. I don't think he's played the Scion. Maybe he has one Scion game. I'm trying to remember based on the stats I was looking at going into the weekend, because I've had a lot of Zamudo games on my streams so far. I've been blessed to watch it. But he does always have counter picks. That's the thing. He loves to play for that counter. So even if it's not the Malphite, I expect something that once we see a lock team, we're like, oh, yep, that's going to be pretty tough for the Renekton to get a big lead against. Just the Ornn. Okay, nothing too crazy, but still makes sense.
Hey.
You were asking for initial engage. This is something can initially engage for the Rakan.
And the other thing is, it is now Zamudo's first time playing a champion more than once that is not named Gragas. This is the second Ornn game that he has had so far throughout this summer split. And very big tank up here on the top side is pretty darn good at neutralizing a lot of what the Renekton can do. But just as we saw, Fake God had a really good early game into Zamudo by holding him in the lane. And DSG, they have a lot of very aggressive tools to lock down a single member. The problem is, there's a lot of members that they want to try and lock down, and they're all going to be trying to kite.
And I'm trying to remember the Ornn called the Forge God cooldown. My gut says that it's a much longer cooldown than the Malphite one, but I'm not fully confident in that. I imagine that we might see less engage angles, though, for Zamudo as opposed to last time around.
Yeah, I mean, being on the red side does make some of the ramp plays that they had last time a little bit more difficult, because it is a very different set of ramps. You can't necessarily hide in Fog of War just as easily as we were seeing from previous games. And now, this Wildcard does jump onto the Rift going up against DSG. They are 1-0 in this series, and Wildcard looking to prove that they need to be considered amongst the top teams. If they can take a 2-0 against the Skies, it stops all of the draws that they have gotten so far, and also pushes Wildcard to, I believe, sole possession of second place.
That would be huge for Wildcard as a team. Obviously, last spring, they were touted as one of the best teams at the beginning of the split. They petered out towards the end and finished at an even 50-50. But they did start off very strong. This would be continuing that trend now with a slightly different roster, but still a lot of returning players that we are very excited about to see their development in this league. But like you said, Disguised, they've been splitting 1-1 against pretty much everybody. So no surprise if they are able to turn things around.
Yeah, I'm getting... Oh, no, there it is. FlyQuest, currently in sole possession of second place, having won 2-0 earlier today against Evil Genius's Challengers Wildcard. Now 1 game behind, so they can tie FlyQuest as one of the top teams in the league, or they can end up tying Disguised if Disguised are able to win, and they would both be tied at 3rd in the league. So still, very impressive stuff from Wildcard, having had success with this core roster as AOH and Turmeric and Wildcard last year, or last spring.
We see Disguise still has believers in chat, though, rooting for them.
They're very popular.
They will take this.
Yeah. I mean, they managed to make fetch work, so there's a lot going through for these guys.
What?
Have you not seen Mean Girls?
Yes.
Yes, you have?
I have.
Yeah.
I'm
You
so
gotta be
confused.
popular enough to make fetch work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of following now. I finally
not
found the
a very
information,
good
by the
joke.
way. Finally found the information.
All right.
130-second cooldown on Malphite's ultimate level 1, or rather level 6, the first point in there. 140 for Orange, so only a 10-second differential.
Yeah.
Not that crazy, actually.
I was pretty confident in saying they were both about 2 minutes to start off with, and then going down to probably around 90 seconds after that, maybe even 60 seconds by the time you actually get it to rank 3 when you hit level 16. But still, we had to take a look at the two junglers, both Tomio and Keel, moving from the top side of the map toward the bottom side of the map. And Keel not going for the same kind of really aggressive paths that we have been seeing coming out from his Kindred in the past. Instead, there's going to be matching Tomio on the bottom half, but there's a way better vision in the river for Disguise than there is currently for Wildcard.
Yeah, what we've been seeing from a lot of the Kindreds into the Vi matchup is that early invade. Trying to get up in the Vi's face, prevent the Vi from getting all of their camps in a full clear, but it seems like Keel will just go for a full clear for themselves instead. Not going to go for any early scraps, but then the 50-50 comes down. Where will your mark be spawning, and can you get that one early? That's always a really good feeling for the Kindred players.
Yeah, it usually is. It is more likely to spawn away from Kindred than it is to spawn on the same side. But as we say that, it is worth knowing that Keel is already hovering towards the middle of the map, and as soon as they start moving towards the top side, they are going to find Tomio.
Okay. He sees it. The mark is on the bottom side, but Tomio has his bot lane roaming first. Zazel gets out of lane, so Tomio will deny the mark from Keel.
And also, as we take a look at this, because Zazel is on the Soraka, we haven't talked about it a whole lot. It has a ton of tools to be aggressive in the lane, especially with the effectively point-and-click silence and the damage that comes along with it. Meech and Zazel have already built up about a wave in advantage completely by themselves without any interruption from either jungler. Young, tries to go aggressive.
Yeah, both of them trading against each other. Yeah, I'm happy to highlight the Soraka a little bit more as well here, because it's not the crazy counter to the Rakan like a Leona or a Nautilus would be, where you're trying to lock them down. But in a way, it still can, because if you go for that engage and the silence, you're in a lot of trouble. You can't really get out of there anymore. So does Meech have the damage then to follow up and actually kill Donbray if Donbray goes for anything in lane? Or you can just say, I'm not going to play for lane. We're just going to try and get out of lane instead. Like Tomio is doing right here, invading onto Keel. Takes the Krugs, Keel sees this, and Tomio's out of there.
Yeah. I mean, generally with Soraka, you are about as effective as you are able to be aggressive in all these team fights, right? If you can throw it down, one, you can prevent Donbray from leaving after they use the Grand Entrance, but also if you can use it to prevent Zamudo from ulting or Keel from ulting, suddenly the Soraka goes from being a pretty good defensive pick, allowing you to take a lot longer fights, to being one that is basically impossible for Wildcard to play against. And so far, Wildcard have really been relying on a lot of these opportunities to dictate how fights are actually starting, and I feel like Soraka is really good at preventing that.
One of the... She's so annoying in lane. As a support main, I'm going to get on my little soapbox and say how annoying it is to play against Soraka, because she can actually control a lot of the wave. If she wants to play back and just poke you, she can. If she wants to help shove the wave, she can. Very hard to engage onto her, so in a way she feels like a weird kind of lane bully that not every support is prepared for to actually deal with. This top lane is heavily traded. Zamudo gets chunked out and has to back, and Dragon started by Tomio here. See if Wildcard want to answer. I think they will.
Yeah, I mean, Donbray coming around will clear out a little bit of vision, but it is worth noting that yet again, FakeGod doing a good job controlling the early lane on this Renekton, still finding opportunities to be aggressive. One of the things we have prided Zamudo on in the past is his excellence with understanding small interactions and optimizing combos, especially on tanks, kind of a neglected art by a lot of people. But FakeGod is not caring, right? Taking total control of this top side of the map, consistently building leads all on their own. The problem is, the thing that allowed them to take over so much of the landing phase up against the Malphite, can't do against the Ord. Ord is like, oh, sorry, you're not letting me back. That is okay. I have my own fountain right here. Let me just build that item. Eventually, Ord will be able to neutralize a lot of the damage that FakeGod can put out.
Yeah, Orange is not even that far behind. And so yes, there's one plate picked up by FakeGod. So while yes, it feels good for the Renekton, it's less of a lead than we saw at this point last time around, where FakeGod was really pressuring the Malphite under turret constantly. And this wave, I don't think that's a freeze. I think it'll bounce back to Zamudo, so he should be able to catch that just fine as long as he's patient.
We cursed it, Steve. As soon as we say something about nobody going static shiv, it happens. Young is building it
we're
now
finally
on the
getting
Ari.
it from Young.
Yeah. Going to have a lot of opportunity to move around the map, right? And Young was a player that was really specializing in like the Akali and the Sylas in the previous splits, and now showcasing a willingness to do a wider variety of different plays this time around, as the Ari with the static shiv will have a lot of freedom to move around the map and try and dive some of these slide lanes when Tomio is level 6, which has just happened.
It might be... I mean, honestly, in the last game, it did feel like that sometimes was the issue for Disguised as well. Setting up for the objective and not necessarily having these big pushes while they're doing it. So definitely be a different look this time around. Samudo throws out the Ram Horns and tries to clear out some of the wave. Some damage on a Fake God. Called the Forge God used. He's actually going to go for a flash out from Fake God.
I mean, a lot of respect being paid by Disguise to Wildcard, right? They knew that Keel was up in the area fairly recently, didn't want to risk anything at all, and Tomio now using this opportunity to start up the Rift Herald, right? He is going to be completely uncontested in this one, and so far has gotten 2 objectives, all to Disguise basically by themselves, right? They did get the Dragon earlier on, and now with this Rift Herald, nobody moving towards the top half of the map. Disguise just ever so slowly building a lead. Their top lane is winning the lane, their bottom lane is winning the lane, and it is going to likely go like that for a little while longer because they hit power spikes earlier on their champions and Wildcard will.
Where do they want to put the Herald is the next question. Every time I see a jungler pick that up, that pops up on my mind. Try and get Fake God further ahead. That's one angle, as he is still taking more and more plates. Right as I said it before, it's not as big of a lead as last time. Well, now he's gotten another plate, almost a third, and also a 11 CS lead here. So Tomio could look for that as he's spot on the bot side, or he could look to try and get one of these other lanes into this game instead. Dragon will be up in under 2 minutes. There's always also the opportunity to hold that until the Dragon spawns and then drop it to try and draw pressure away from that objective.
I also want to point out, right, that last game, Zamuda was down 1,000 gold at 15 minutes. Likely going to be in a relatively similar position in this game. Now, Disguise are also starting to move towards the bottom half of the map. They do have a lot of tools, and the teleports, they will be active for Wildcard and for Disguise, but they won't be off cooldown. Heel's now looking for an opportunity to hop this wall. Dombre 6.
Jumps over right now. Big engage from Dombre. Lands onto both. Zazel flashes early. He's going to go down surely. No escape for the Soraka. Now, who gets the kill? It is Keel that picks up the credit.
That is a couple of flashes being expended, right? Both Dombre and Keel having to flash in order to pick up that first kill, but it will get picked up by the jungler. And this is such a big moment, right? If the Kindred can start building up this lead, going up against the members of Disguise, it is so hard with all of these diving characters to actually deal with the Kindred.
Getting a lead yet again here. That's so scary, man. Every time I see a Kindred with gold up on a Vi, it's Flashback City.
Ooh, Zamudo
taking a big trade. That might have been over ambitious, as Fake God is trading it right on back. Flash is available for Zamudo. Tomio is here.
Yep.
And we'll drop the Herald now.
Flash.
Called Forge God used, and they're trying to get onto Fake God right now. My screen's unfortunately frozen, so I can't quite tell. Keel doesn't get the damage. Fake God does manage to get away.
Everybody's here. Here's Soligo.
Oh, they're really committing to this. Soligo doesn't have the range, though. Ooh, really a sloppy play right there. Wildcard wanted a lot and didn't get much.
But it's still a spot where Wildcard, they don't lose anything either, right? If they can get that kill onto Fake God and trade it for the kill onto Zamudo, still just going kind of even in that position isn't the worst thing. But you can tell that Wildcard, they are instead going to be trying to find everything else that they can on the map. There's a dragon that is currently spawning, and with the first resets for a lot of the Wildcard members, they can start moving down there if they want. But with no teleport on Zamudo, no ultimates for either Zamudo or Heel, not going to have an opportunity to be super aggressive there, and it looks like Disguise might actually be the one to pick up this dragon.
They are prepping for it. Bot lane shoved, mid lane shoved, and jungler rotating to that area. Heel will path down, spotted up by the red buff there, so Disguise know that the Kindred is not on this side of the map as of right now. So pretty safe to just start up this objective. Very early dragon stacking, as this will be their second.
I also want to point out that with only a single kill and that one being picked up by Wildcard, there's been a ton of plays that have already gotten picked up by the side of Disguise. They got 4 from the top side already. They got 1 in the middle. It looks like 2 down in the bottom lane as Wildcard have been struggling to try and find opportunities to even fight back. The only place where they're even kind of close in CS in the lanes is in the mid lane, where Saligo is only down a single wave. But that's probably going to get worse before it gets better, as now Young, with the static shift, can start moving out of the lane very quickly.
Yeah, easy to shove this wave in. As we see right there, I believe that was just 1 auto and a Q to do pretty much all of that. And Saligo is going to have to catch that one. This means that Young can shove the wave, link up with Tomio. They're out of the lane. They are pressuring this bottom side.
Yeah. Dombre has the ultimate, but no flash available.
They see this. They know that it's happening. Can they get out? They're going to fight underneath the turret. That's ultimate's expended. Young is out of there, though, so just a trade at Spirit Rush for both Lens and Dombre's ults.
Yeah, and Disguise, like, very, very happy as long as this gold lead is starting to build up for themselves. If they can start looking to chain all of these dragons together, they should be able to take the next one in a very dominant position, and then the one after that is really where we start asking questions of if Wildcard can build enough money in order to actually go for a lot of these fights. We do see that Saligo currently on the Oleandres as the first major item completed here for Wildcard, but across the board, like Disguise, we're seeing that Meech also going for the static shift style build. I thought it was bad enough on the mid laners. I didn't want to see this on the AD carries too.
I mean, okay, so hear me out. It is broken on AP stackers because it's you know, scales off of that. I don't think it's broken on 80 carries, though. I'm just going to say it. I actually think that's how it's designed to be used.
Yeah. I was very surprised when they put an AP ratio on it at all. It gives so much freedom, so many different mid laners to try and build it, but it's still, like, it's not a bad item on anybody else. And it's not as though 80 carries rely on using a lot of mana to clear out waves. Most of the time, they usually just do it with auto attacks, but it does give some opportunities for Disguise to be faster on the map, right? You clear out a wave and then you leave in order to go do something else and get to location first. And that has been how Wildcard won the last game. Now Wildcard.
Ooh, we're setting up for play. Rigo jumps in there, gets a slow on to Young, but that is it. So 2 shivs completed. I understand all the points you're making. Okay, teleport coming in from Zumuto. It actually looks like action will be happening around this Rift Herald as Keel is in the pit already. They're looking at Tomio right now. Vi jumps away, does not have the flash available, locked down, has to re-engage, but there's just no shot you're getting out of this one. Surely, no, the charm lands. Keel doesn't have the damage or the range to get back onto Tomio. Call the Forge got used. They're deep in enemy territory, locking down Young, who found himself in a rough spot. Taken down, Fake God not committing to the fight, though. Watching on the wall, Meech gets a feather recall, roots Zumuto. They've lost their mid laner. Disguised are down a member for a potential Herald fight. Fake God still fancies it. He's posturing, has dominance available.
But Tomio is pushed so far out. Look, he's on the bottom side of the map. DSG are going to be giving up this objective at that point. And the crazy thing is, it was Tomio that was the one who got caught in the first place. He's still alive, actually, right? He moves to the far side of the map because Soraka is crazy at keeping all of these members up and running. But a minute and a half left until the next dragon as we take another look at this engage of sorts. Again, really impressive that Tomio is able to get out of this one. Look at how Zeyzal moves around the bottom side of the map in order to try and help out this jungler. The ultimate comes through, and so much movement speed from Zeyzal, making sure that he stays out of Flag of War and keeping Tomio alive for these last bits of damage every single time. It ends up being Young that gets caught with knockup after knockup. It's not Zeyzal's fault at that point, right? It is just all the crowd control coming through, not enough time for the heals to really make a difference.
And as we're back to live here, still a gold lead for Disguise despite all of that. They have the damage to kill Zumuto here, unlikely. As it's still just the static shift completed on the Ahri. It's not completed a Leandres or whatever the second item will be as of yet. But still the gold lead for Disguise, despite the kills going over to Wildcard. They're going to have to use this Herald to try and get more. A lot of that gold on Fake God right there, as we can see on the side of the screen. Getting that solo turret for himself. Meech also just 40 CS up over Lens, kind of popping off here.
Yeah.
That's where the gold is right now.
Also pretty sure that Fake God was probably closer to 1,500 gold up at the 15-minute mark than the 1,000 he had as a lead in the last game. Now, as Wildcard is starting to set up, Samuto actually with the rest of the team looking for a front-to-back style team fight, which is always dangerous going up against Soraka. But Wildcard just using it as they look for Young.
Ooh, Donbray jumped onto Young. Spirit Rush out. Trade of ult right now. The charm lands onto Keel. Full engage coming in from Tomio. Lamb's just by being held right now as Zamuto gets a nice knock up onto 2 members. Onto Meech. Feather Recall doesn't land onto anybody. Fake God tried to get onto Keel. Finally, the Lamb's Spike goes down. They lost Zazel. The ambulance has crashed. And now Wildcard are witnessing the carnage as they push in this wave into the mid lane. Disguised do not earn their 3rd dragon.
To be honest, I don't even know how Zazel died. My screen froze during that fight, but it is going to be Wildcard who comes out with the Mountain Dragon for themselves. We saw what happened when they chained it going last game in Donbray.
Okay, do you want to go for anything crazy here, Meech? Had the flash for safety.
Teleport.
Ghost is coming off cooldown, lots of damage onto Donbray. Fake God looks for something. Donbray's out of there. Saligo re-engage onto Tomio. The knock up over the wall from Zamuto. Meech, no mana. Young has joined in though. Fake God on the flank. Flashes forward, trying to lock down Lens. Lens gets out of there. Fake God continues the chase. Now we're on to Keel, who kills Meech with Soligo's help. Young is out as well. Fake God finally claims the carry on the side, but Saligo and Keel are still alive. Fake God cannot deal with both of them. And Zazel, the lonely Soraka, say, please, no, I just want to live. Quadra kill to Saligo.
Wow, Saligo standing tall. The big DPS coming through for a Wildcard. And so Wildcard, they get the dragon, they get all of these kills, and that looked like the best fight that DSG might have been able to take, right? This is when they're supposed to be on their power spikes before Wildcard get there. Wildcard finally taking the lead as they topple the mid lane turret, and the Saligo this accelerated, and Keel suddenly with 3 kills as well. Feels as though Wildcard are perfectly poised to start taking over this game. But as Fake God comes around, I mean, Meech has no mana, and that is probably the biggest issue looking at this one, because as Fake God comes through trying to pick up all these different members with everybody starting to blink red, and it becomes utter chaos, it's just about Saligo, right? He's able to find this pocket originally taking down Tomio, and then as they jump on everybody else, Saligo's like, okay, well, there's just a Soraka, I'm an auto attack champion, what are you going to do about me? The answer is try and kill everybody else. He's free hitting the entire time.
Not enough damage. Threats onto all the carries of Wildcard. They got the one in the bot lane, but there are 2 others on the Rift that are able to carry the rest of the fight. Zamuto buying so much space for them. Saligo says Burb champ and picks up a quadra kill. 4-0 and 2. Tomio is going to walk up and smite this. Probably just going to walk up and smite this.
Yeah.
This is gonna be mean.
So rude. Zamuto's just like, please.
Wait,
Uh-oh,
Zamuto's
Fake
got
God's
such
here
a
too.
big,
that's an E.
Okay. Maybe it's a flash and a smite. Didn't even smite. Well done, Tomio.
Nice. Well, look at this with the jungler on the far side of the map. Wildcard are like, okay, well, we are going to hit the Baroon, and what are you going to do about it?
Never mind, Tomio. You got the Gromp, but yeah, this is probably not a worth trade, as Disguise cannot make it in time to stop this. Well done, Wildcard, identifying. Hey, that was 2 members bot, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was 2 members.
Oh, hello.
No. Tomio went a little farther than expected there. Lens picking up the kills. Zamuto has called the Forge God available. Young will have to look for a charm to stop this. Does not land it. Meech uses the Feather Storm to try and get out of there. Charm lands on the Keel now. Feather Recall doesn't hit anybody. And Saligo goes unstoppable for another kill.
Nice.
Wildcard popping off in the mid-game yet again, and a double kill to the bird.
They're going to get so much more off of this Baron than they did in game 1, right? Multiple turrets should be going down. They still have 2 minutes on it with 3 members of DSG already dead. The top lane is going to be falling. The bottom lane should fall as well. The mid lane can get picked up by Wildcard. It feels as though Wildcard should be just ballooning in gold in this one. And we were saying that the question would be if Wildcard had the gold to contest later fights. This is them hitting those power spikes so early. And one of the best things about this Kindred is whenever you start winning these fights already, you start winning them even harder. Just chasing down all these members and cutting Zazel out makes sure that there's not enough HP on the rest of Disguise to actually make any of these fights happen.
You can tell Fake God had one moment there when the charm landed. Do I go? Do I turn? Nope, sorry. Good luck, Meech.
Good luck.
Just runs away.
Yeah. I mean, I feel, bad for Fake God. On the one hand, he's been getting decent lane matchups. He's taken them to their full power, but so far, it just feels as though Wildcard are just exploding in these mid games.
He lost a flash right there. Good damage onto Keel, but not enough to actually pick up the kill. And now with flash and heal down from Zazel, didn't even realize that. Both summoner spells. Wildcard, like you said, ballooning the lead. Now up to 4,500 gold. Don Bray, you shall not pass, disguised.
I also have a quick question for you as a player.
That's also a bird champ. We got all the bird champs.
Lots
Where's
of
Anivia?
birds.
Okay, yes, what's your question?
Important question for you. Do you get tripped up whenever you have to say kill, heal?
No, but I like to make jokes about it.
Okay, but here's a teleport from Fake God.
Ooh, this is deep. 3 members of Wildcard are here. Saligo has teleport. Zamudo does not. He's going to have to walk all the way over. Teleport comes in from Saligo very defensively. Keel has Lambster Spike. Gets it down in time. Now can the rest of the team do it? Saligo says, get out of there! Yes, heal is not for you, but it might not have been enough. Len's going to have to put in overtime right now. A lot of damage. Fake God and all the other members of Disguise are still up. Don Bray waiting in the brush. Just stops there. Zamudo, he was walking down, but now he's going back mid lane. Wildcard are just sacrificing their members, and they get collapsed on. Disguised pick up 4 for 0.
Just I was saying, I was feeling sorry for Fake God. He was like, sorry for what? Let me just pick this up real quick. Big, deep teleport, catching on to Keel. Doesn't have to use the flash. They're going to be getting another dragon for themselves and putting them one dragon away from the soul. But this is a fantastic timer, right? Saligo has the teleport, but Zamudo does not. And as they catch onto Wildcard, it looks like they were taking them completely by surprise, forcing Keel's ultimate out relatively early. And even though Saligo comes in, he doesn't get the important members out of the fight. He doesn't create enough space because he throws them down towards the lane. Look at how Meech and Young are able to walk in from the left-hand side without any terrain to slow them down.
Kind of would have preferred to, just knock them towards your Ornn that's coming in from the flank.
Yeah,
but
by time.
Yeah, one of those little decisions. Your mouse is in one position. If it was in another, maybe the play ends differently. That's just League of Legends. Wildcard lose the fight. They still have a gold lead. But now Disguised are on Dragon Soul point. They get a little bit more life breathed into them. A little more chance to bring this game back. It was good in the early game yet again, but has slipped away from them. Those types of plays are going to need to find at least one more of those, preferably around a Baron timer.
Oh,
to
yeah.
actually really make it matter.
We were already talking about this before, right? There are so many threats and so much range coming out from the members of Wildcard. It's going to be tough for DSG to get in at this point of the game. Now, we have seen other teams do it from even crazier spots than this, right? We were watching Team Liquid play against Team Fish Taco earlier on in the day, but the finesse that Team Liquid Challengers has shown is not something that we've been seeing the same degree coming out from Disguise. They are very much all or nothing in a lot of the ways that they try and take fights, and so we haven't necessarily been seeing nearly the same amount of finesse coming out from Young in particular in this game. It feels like he keeps on getting caught by the members of Wildcard, and to their credit, I mean, Zamudo and Keel have really been putting the pressure on.
In week 1, very impressed with Young and Meech's play so far in this weekend. I mean, they've split a lot of games, a lot of series 1-1. They might actually not do that right here. And it's tough to see the newer members to the roster. 3 out of 5 were championship performers from spring. They were not the carries necessarily. The mid and bot lane were putting in a lot of work in spring. And those ones did not stick around. So this guy's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Young and Meech to perform here.
I also want to point out we have 2 Infinity Forces already completed here for both Keel and Lens. Orange trying to hand out even more gold to the rest of the team. Another level should mean that they can give over another item to the mid laner here in Saligo, who already has the Rapidons as the 3rd item completed. That is an expensive item, Steve. Like that is a lot of money. 3,600 gold being spent on this super fancy hat. And now Wildcard, they're moving towards the top side of the map because they know they can pick up this Baron. It should basically be the end of the game. And they're already, they're setting up. They're teleporting Zamudo on in, and Disguise, they are trying to go through the mid lane. That's not how you get the flanks you need.
Just spawned. Fake God has no deep teleport wards to jump onto. So instead, they just got brute force it. Tomio goes in onto Don Bray. Gets pushed back. Half health. Zazel's going to try and keep him alive for as long as possible. Ambulance is ringing. Disguise, they say, all right, let's just try and take this turret instead. Yeah, they're just not even going to go for the Baron, I suppose. Tomio might look for the steal, but walks right into Zamudo, as they will not make it in time. That is the Baron secured for Wildcard.
Looking for a bit more of a fight, but Sligo now with no more dashes to reposition. And this guy is just going right up the mid lane, trying to get a little bit more damage. As Wildcard instead going towards the top side, seemingly calling a bluff from Disguise, as Wildcard with the Baron buff will take this way faster, and Azir is all that is necessary to send back to defend their own base.
They can lose this tier 2 turret, that's fine. But there's not much more that Disguise can do afterwards. Wildcard will trade for a tier 2 turret in the top lane. And Donbray will get away from Fake God as well. The Dragon spawning in a minute's time. I feel like Wildcard can use this Baron to go for that. Nice play from Tomio and Young. I actually really like this. Jump onto Saligo, who's all alone. You know it. He's isolated, and now he's down. Big pickup for Disguise.
Wow, I mean, that's all in. That is Disguise committing so much to pick up Saligo, the most fed member here for Wildcard. Is coming at a crucial time. You said it needs to be around a Baron timer. Well, how about the Mountain Soul timer? Wildcard coming in. They have a lot of fed members, but that is their main magic damage source. Already down.
Silence Zamudo gets out of there, though. Oh, Donbray going in for a very aggressive engage. Called Forge God used as well. As Zamudo lands it onto a couple, and they got Tomio. Wow, did not expect a member from Disguise to actually go down there. But Wildcard had the damage. They had the follow-up, and now they have a 4v4. Saligo spawning in 13 seconds with teleport. So they deny the Dragon Soul from Disguise.
And even more importantly than the 4v4, right, it is Tomio, the one who has his smite available to try and contest this Mountain Dragon. Wildcard will be able to get that all by themselves, and Heal is all alone hitting that as the rest of Wildcard starting to take control of this jungle. There's still a minute left of their Baron on a couple of their members, so they will be able to continue looking for a siege. And even with both these static shivs, the wave clear is so much weaker this time around than it has been for previous versions of Disguise.
Yeah, and Shiv into a Baron minion wave is much different than Shiv into a regular wave, so you can't even reliably clear these out as quickly, and that is just a turret made of butter right there. Wildcard are serving up some heat. They're walking up to try and poke out Disguise while they take the inhibitor down. Wildcard have cracked the base of Disguise and are on the precipice of a 2-0 day to close out week 2 and deny Disguise their tradition at this point of splitting their series, giving them in 0-2 their first of the split.
Said toasts, turrets were butter. Yeah, it has been so good for Wildcard, right? We have to start talking about them as one of these strong teams. There's a big chunk onto Zazel, severely limits his healing potential, but look at where Tomio has found himself. This is a big flank.
And Donbray snap engage
Too
here
late.
onto Mish.
Too late.
And he's just dead. Had ult, had flash, didn't have time to activate either of them. Wildcard. What a performance from this roster, from this team. They will not have a minion wave to walk up, but with supers in 2 waves, you gotta imagine the game will be ending shortly. They're chasing Tomio right now, who's buying time.
The red.
Won't be able to buy much more after that, though. He's just trying to chase Wildcard around the rift. Has caught the wave, has stopped the game from ending. So I guess Akira's mentality right there, but Disguised are not in any better of a position after that.
Oh no, I mean, with 2 inhibitors down, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Disguise's side of the map, and Wildcard can now move as 5 into the top lane, where they only have 1 set of turrets left to go before they start knocking on the Nexus turrets. And Wildcard, I mean, yeah, the game can continue going longer and longer if they do choose to go for it. If they do just want to wait it out to even more Mountain Dragons, they will still be stronger later on. But this is where we start looking at how well Wildcard can set up. We know they're good around the objectives, but you don't need to wait 10 more minutes for 2 more Mountain Dragons to spawn. I want to see how well that they can siege and actually force these fights around the turrets.
How quickly can you close out a game from this kind of position? It's one of the age-old questions that we try and judge teams based on, especially the developmental teams, especially these amateur teams. Wildcard was coming in last split. They didn't have the org backing of an LCS org. They didn't have the Challengers title along with their roster, but they were competing at that level for most of the split, and already here off to a very good start in week 2. Right now, it's about pushing the waves.
Yeah, one of the other things that we kind of have to remember is even with only 6 of the players returning, right? Wildcard, the first time when we started looking at this team and being like, oh god, these guys are the real deal, was when they took down Cloud9 Challengers in spring.
Yeah.
Right? That was the big question. Like, oh, you know, they're playing up against the weaker teams. Now Wildcard are doing a similar thing to Disguise, which is a spiritual successor to the Cloud9 Challengers team this time around. And feels like Wildcard are once again entering our top echelon by taking down, I mean, Zeyzal, Fake God, and Tomio.
Not easy players to get the better of. And I hope that throughout the cast today, you've understood exactly why. Disguised Toast are also the real deal.
Hello.
Wildcard getting the better of them here means it's a big deal. Wildcard poke out Zeyzal right there, who's got a flash, walk all the way back to the fountain to heal up, and Wildcard can now look at the Baron, which is spawning in 20 seconds time. Not much of a hope for Disguised to steal this.
Yeah, and the inhibitors will be spawning way after this is down. So Disguise, they're trying to push things out, but they're looking for Tomio again. Not going to catch him this time, but still just pushing them away. Look at where Young is on the map. They don't have great teleport wards to even go towards. And now DSG, they are very far from this Baron buff, and it will get shredded. Double marksman plus the Azir. There's no real hope there, and Tomio tries to cut another wave.
So it's just, this is his job, I guess, right now, as a jungler of all things, to say, nope, I'm just going to be the one that hits the wave and tries to prevent them from ending the game off of it. But it means he can't get close to that bear, and it's picked up another one for Wildcard, as the inhibitors are still going to be spawning in about a minute's time, minute and a half for that mid one. Wildcard have these super minions to play with for a little bit longer. But they're not. Okay, Wildcard are taking their time with this one. They will actually set up for the dragon instead of pushing for a big fight and into the game end.
I mean, that is what Wildcard were known for in spring, right? They were the team that were always building through scale, and I'm a little bit sad, right? We saw that Tomio went for a flank around the Wolf camp previously in order to try and make a play happen there, but this time, I mean, after taking the blue buff, there was a potential opportunity to go for a flank off of the Tri-Brush in the bottom lane, but Wildcard is going to be picking up this dragon for free, and then they will line up, and then they will start going for the siege, as the inhibitors will be responding very shortly. Wildcard, I mean, taking absolutely no risk in this one, and I'd say very, very likely to improve to 8-4, tying up FlyQuest Challengers for second place.
Lonely at the top, but that is good company to keep. Wildcard put their names up there with 2 of the LCS orgs that remain here in the Challengers League. One final play. Teleport coming in from Zamudo. Call the Fourth God is available. This is the big engage tool for Wildcard alongside Don Bray, who has everything up. All summoner spells, all ultimates, all items spent with ornament upgrades on top. And now the engage comes in. They're trying to jump onto Don Bray. Tomio's deep in enemy territory, though. Call the Fourth God used. Lands onto everybody. Shut down, and an easy team fight win for Wildcard, as Disguise will now have to mount a defense with 3 underneath their Nexus turrets, but the Lamb's Respite keeps Wildcard in it. They're still alive. They have the Baron buff to push in this next wave, and Disguised have been routed. 2-0 for Wildcard, as they will take the final Nexus turret, engage onto the carries, and make quick work of Disguised. Well done, and a well-earned 2-0.
There we go, 8-4 for Wildcard, currently tied for second, like we said, with FlyQuest Challengers, doing it against the same kind of team in Disguise like they did the Cloud9 Challengers here in spring. Wildcard are here, they're the real deal, they are here to stay, and I mean, we've been saying, I think this has been an absolutely insane weekend, Steve. We got to see so many potential upsets, and I would have said this was probably going to be a fairly close one. Probably a 1-1, but it never really felt like Wildcard was ever in any danger of losing.
Well, especially given Disguise, you know, the rest of the matches this weekend.
True.
It felt like it was in the script to be a 1-1, but once they lost that first game, I was like, wait a minute. They haven't really won the second game in a while. What's going to happen now? Unfortunately, they keep that trend going forward, but they didn't get that first one either. Well played to Wildcard regardless. We're going to send it to a short break before Sierra comes back to interview one of the victorious members from Wildcard after this. You're not going to want to miss it. So we'll see you there.
Hello, everyone. For the final time today to the Verizon post-game interview, I have Lens on the line to talk a little bit more about that 2-0 over Disguise. First off, congratulations, not just on the 2-0, but finishing week 2 5-1. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. We obviously needed these wins. We ended 5-1. Yeah, just feeling good.
And then with Wildcard, with this week and just even last, I mean, you've been off to a really, really strong start. You're tied with FlyQuest Challengers for that second place. What do you think has been the reason for that success so far to be starting off this summer split?
Coming into the split, I was like not very confident. I wouldn't say not very confident, but I changed like 3 supports before the split started. I was scrimming with Isles, and then Duo King stepped up, and then now Dombre. So I definitely had questions, and we had like synergy problems, communication, everything. And the games we dropped this week was like, I believe we were not supposed to lose to MU or Supernova 2-0. You know, we're losing to Supernova 2-0, coming here beating DSG, one of the top teams considered. We just have to be more consistent, and yeah, just more practice.
You'll definitely get a lot of opportunities for more practice going on because we got a lot more league left in our split. I want to talk a little bit about your play and how you're feeling about it, because I know after last Monday you tweeted out that you didn't necessarily play the best. How about your own performance over this weekend? Do you think you stepped it up? Are you happy, or is there still another hurdle to overcome?
I still have steps to take, definitely. Compared to last split, I'm a bit like taking it slower, but when I look at the standings, you know, we're still up there, so feels good. You know, I'm not like my peak form right now, but I'm working towards it. I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And our next question, this one's actually going to be coming out from Twitch chat, coming out from Homie8G. And you touched a little bit upon the fact that you're kind of questioning roster coming into summer because of maybe communication issues and changes. But now that we're got to after week 2, how are you feeling about this roster in comparison to the spring roster? Because the spring roster too, I mean, you caught a lot of us off guard.
Yeah, obviously, spring roster, we had a lot more fans, probably a lot more hype. I mean, we were just underdogs every game and just picking whatever champ and just doing good. So I would say this split, I'm able to play a lot more champs due to my pairing, and we were like kinda, we didn't play too much styles, but with this team I believe we can play a lot of different styles.
Right, and coming into summer with the fact there has been the roster changes, and you said you felt there was a bit more support, a bit more hype around the spring roster. Do you feel like this new iteration of Wildcard has been a little underestimated? I mean, you are tied for second at this point, but not really at the forefront of some of the conversations about the best teams that we have.
I don't really know if we're underrated, but I think on paper, and if you look at last split, like we're all individually very strong players. Yeah, I don't think we should be underestimated.
Awesome. And then before I let you go, first off, thank you so much for your time. But if you have any shout outs or any final last words?
Shout out to my team. They all carried me today. My mom, and Dombre is doing pretty good, so special shout out to him.
Love that. Have a good rest of your night. Congrats
Thank you.
again on the victory and the successful week.
Thanks.
As for us, we've had a successful, wow, it has been a long day. It's been a good one though, as we come back over to the desk to wrap things up. I know, Kangas, you're definitely feeling the effects of the long day. I'm not gonna let you off the hook for
Why singling me out? Wait, what?
We'll see you soon, you know?
Hey, you know what? As my voice cracks trying to defend myself, maybe now this is how you should have set me up for the nervous part, the whole bit that we did.
Just make sure you do it at
Don't
the
make me
very
full box. I have
end of the
nothing
day.
important to say here, actually.
Yeah.
No, stop. Get out of here.
You're making me nervous. This is perfect. Keep it up. Keep it up.
I love watching Kangas flustered on Juneteenth. It makes me really happy.
Happened a few times on broadcast already, yeah.
All right, now, since it is the end of our day, we get an opportunity to look at our updated standings. see how things are shaking up. We were talking about the fact that Wildcard tied for that second place spot here with FlyQuest. Honestly, really respectable scores coming out from both of them, but still can't really touch that #1 spot.
Yeah, I mean, with both of these guys still looking for opportunities to catch up towards the top of the standings, I think for me, it's worth knowing that both Disguise and Maryville have been surprising me a little bit. Maryville actually picking up a lot more wins this weekend than I think a lot of people were expecting, going 4-2. And Disguise, with all the 1-1s they've had so far, I mean, falling a little bit further down the standings than a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, Fear catching up. Also, God, I just still feel so bad for AoE. It felt like things were clicking for them, and then Lynx has the power outage. They had to play Acadian today. Happy that we at least got to see some more footage, but it's just tough because I feel like we didn't learn anything more about them in the final day, and I really just hope that they have the mental to bounce back and not let this affect them going into next week at all. I have faith in the team and in the roster. Still high hopes for them going forward.
Especially, too, since that was a series that actually could have been pretty different circumstances considering.
Yeah,
that would have been
I had
really
AoE kind of
so.
heavy favorites going into it if they had the rosters.
They had the roster if it wasn't for the darn power outage. But hey, all heroes have to overcome something, right? You know, you get over that speed bump now, and maybe next week is going to be that amazing bounce back. But since we are at the end of week 2, you know what time it is, guys?
Time is it?
Get the little
I want to
drum
hear
roll.
you say it.
I got the saber. All right, it is time for our Samsung SSD Fast 5.
The Samsung SSD Fast 5.
The Samsung SSD Fast 5 coming at you with the 5 fastest people in all the different roles. And honestly, I always look for people who are standing out in these positions, right? And here, Kim down a full minute faster than anybody else in the support item transition. Big ups to this guy, right? We have been looking at Kim Down as, again, one of the most improved players from spring and continuing to look better and better moving into summer.
I'm
mean,
looking
that's
at
great.
our fastest kill, ADG.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
What happened in the Supernova Fear match? I don't think that happened any other day this weekend. So that probably happened on the other stream earlier today. I know they were facing off against each other. That would be hilarious if they both just like killed each other in lane or something.
That definitely looks like there was an invade between those two teams, and then like one person dies, and then Manui gets the counter kill afterwards as they're chasing them down.
I'm excited to go watch that one back, especially too that difference in time between the two of them, and then the third place on that list being Spawn. Like,
Yeah,
There's
2
some-
minutes behind.
there was some stuff going on over there, but
Also, fun fact, I checked out Twitter a little bit. They're beefing right now. Like, their Twitter pages are actually flaming each other. It is hilarious.
Let's go.
And I love it.
there is some. Honestly, they're having some bangers as well. Team Fish Taco, they had a fantastic tweet out too after that we're managing to get that second game against Team Liquid Challengers. So hey, I think this is the time where we start to wrap things up so we can go miss out on all the Twitter beef that we might have missed, as well as whatever happened in that Fear and Supernova game. But hey, before we go, the end of the week, it's been a fun day. Any final thoughts from either of you?
Yeah, I'll start. Legitimately, happy Juneteenth to everybody who celebrates. It is an American holiday for everybody who is around. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and make sure you stay safe for the rest of the evening.
Go check out Nick Ray's stream. I know he was streaming earlier. I don't know who we're going to go
Raiding
raid. Okay, we're going to go
someone
raid
else.
an arrow. But also go check out Asher Cross, who I believe is streaming right now.
Why?
Good friend.
Is he doing something special?
Just check out
I
all the
just do it on
streams.
YouTube.
I
Oh,
believe
okay.
Len streams as well. Just check out all the streams. But for right now, you're going to be checking out the stream below. Make sure to be coming along with the raid and saying hi and sending well wishes. And well wishes to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on Saturday for week 3 of LCS Challengers. But until then, have a safe night and a fun rest of the week. Enjoy the summer.